Hello and welcome to another video and podcast from Fantasy Football Scouts. Today it's all about Sky Sports Fantasy Football and there is £50,000 up for grabs for the winner, one of us two obviously. My name is Joe and joining me ahead of Game Week 19's bumper fixture run is Luke, and we're also going to talk about some issues ahead of the overhaul which is going to be after Game Week 22. So Luke, how are you?
I'm good. I'm feeling all right, especially after Rob Holding captain last night. I was praying that Arsenal could keep the clean sheet in that one. It didn't look likely at one stage because Palace were all over them.
Yeah.
But Holding's passing numbers, especially in the first half, were incredible. So yeah, he's done a job. I bought him in, I don't know, maybe month or so ago now. Before quite a lot of people, I think, and in that time, he's been one of my better buys. I think he's got 9, 10, 10, 3
Yeah.
games in a row. You can't ask for more than that, and obviously
Yeah.
on captain day. So happy days.
Yeah, you were. I mean, I got him in as well on your advice. So I'm late to the holding party, but yeah, obviously very pleased. And I was thinking of Saka. I had enough money for Saka, and then I just thought, no. I mean, looking at holding scores, looking at that value there, it just sort of fits in quite nicely. You can just sit and rest until the overhaul, which was game week 22. After game week 22 rather than game week 23. So yeah.
Yeah, not bad. Saka ended up getting shot tears, I think, but I don't know. I just feel at the moment. I mean, Arsenal for a small stage they looked like they could start scoring goals again, and then suddenly it switched back. But then you realise it was versus Brighton and West Brom, right? So
Yeah.
there's a balance there somewhere, isn't there? And they still haven't quite found it, I don't think. So defensive assets look a little bit better.
Okay, so before we look at our teams and answer the community questions, let's have a look at who are the latest Tier 2 and Man of the Match stars from the previous game week. So we've got Areola at Fulham, Keane at Everton, Ampadu at Sheffield, Pogba and Foden. Now, out of that lot, it's just rubbish, rubbish defenders. But then again, Areola is getting points there. I noticed as well in the saves tier 2, Areola's there as well. So he's turning a bit of like the KDB of the sticks, between the sticks. So he's got a broad spread of points there. Passing tier 2, Keane, Mina, Zinchenko, Diaz as usual. I'm so pleased I got him in a few weeks ago. Very late to that as well. Dyer, Pogba, Neves, Moutinho and Rodri. So just a quick one on Pogba, because we do have a question on him a bit later. Pogba getting man of the match, getting passing tier 2, scoring. You're a fan of Manchester United as well. I mean, is it Pogba time?
I mean, the last 2 games he's got man of the match, and he's looked a lot better for us. Yeah, assist and man of the match against Villa, 8 points. Man of the match passes tier 2, so that's the big one, and a goal versus Burnley. I mean, you'd hope that a guy playing in central midfield would be getting passes tier 2 against Burnley. But yeah, I mean, I don't think he's a bad option. He's owned by 0% of the top 1K. Obviously, in the past, he's actually been a really good option.
Yeah.
It's just whether there's 2 things for me. The fact that Bruno Fernandes is 0.3 more. So to me, he's like a given. You pretty much still have to have him, even though he's been off the ball of late. So it's really, do you want to double up? And then suddenly, I don't think so. No. But I'm not saying he's a bad option. It could be an alternative, especially when there's a lack of midfielders. It just seems a lot of money to spend on the fact. I mean, he's not going to get attacking returns every week, surely, unless if he was playing in that front 3 position, which he did play in one of the games and did okay, maybe. But then you're looking at a lack of passings here as a result, as a sort of a trade-off. So it's still a very much wait and see for me on that one. I wouldn't go there yet.
Yeah, something to consider perhaps for the overhaul. Perhaps. Tackles tier 2, Wan-Bissaka, who's someone I had been considering, and well done those who
popped
did get
up a lot with it recently, actually.
Yeah, he's always been good for tackles, isn't he? But it's nice to see that come to fruition in Sky points. Isaac Hayden and Harrison Reed. Now Newcastle do have a single game day coming up, but I'm not going to recommend Isaac Hayden.
They could have 8 game days.
It could be just Newcastle against Newcastle forever, and I still wouldn't. Yeah, we've mentioned the saves tier, and then shots tier to the 2 old stages, De Bruyne and Fernandes, staple parts of our team, rather they should be. Heavily owned, broad spread of points, and yes, Fernandes didn't do so well this week, but there he is, shots tier 2, so that's not bad. it's getting there. But we know what they're all about, and yeah, I personally would not want to be without either of those two for the moment.
I learned that the hard way.
Definitely. Let's have a look at your team, just see where you're at. For the benefit of those listening on the podcast, you've got Meslier in goal, Zuma, Holding, who was your captain last night, as you said, Cancelo, Diaz, 17 points between them, De Bruyne, 20 points, Antonio, knew him, Fernandes, 8 points, Kane, 7 points, Salah, Bamford. So, key issue is there's been some fixture changes. We're looking at the fixture changes. Villa suddenly have a single game day. And so you have removed Grealish for Antonio, I presume.
Yeah, let me explain.
Yeah.
So, sorry, excuse me. I had Vardy. I did the Kane to Vardy move a couple of weeks ago for the Vardy captain. Was it versus Newcastle? I can't remember who it was versus now. Was it Newcastle? Pretty sure it was Newcastle.
Yeah.
Which I thought he'd obviously go big on. He didn't, which was annoying. And I basically panicked because this week I didn't want to reverse that. But a couple of things sort of came together at once. First of all, we learned that the Villa game versus Everton was likely to be off, very likely to be off. Grealish is also on 4 yellow cards, I believe. So my thinking there was, well, I'm losing another game for Grealish. There's a chance he gets booked anyway when he plays versus City. And then if a game is rescheduled, because I knew it was a possibility that a game could be rescheduled, the Newcastle one at some point, then he could end up missing that. So I wanted Kane back because I was paranoid that he was going to score, which he did.
Yeah.
It was only 7 points though, so I could have gone without it. So yeah, basically, long story short, I panicked, thought I have to get Kane for Vardy, and the only way I can afford this is to generate some funds. And I had 2 options really, and one of those options was to downgrade Zuma somewhere because he also didn't have a match day. But I liked Zuma's games, and then obviously the reasons behind Jack Grealish, I just said there the game wasn't rescheduled yet, wasn't sure. He's also on 4 yellows, definitely missing the Everton game. It all pointed towards, well, I'll take the chance. So I had to take him out, and obviously, if I was going to remove Vardy, there is a fixture in game week, is it 19? Yeah, I think, where they're Leicester at home to Chelsea, who Vardy was going to be my captain. And the only other game on that day is West Ham at home to West Brom. This is on Tuesday, the 19th of January. So if I'd removed Vardy for Kane, because I really wanted him, I'd suddenly have no captain on that day, really. I'd have had Zuma away to Leicester, but I wouldn't have wanted to do it. So it made sense to me to switch Jack Grealish to Antonio. Now, I know we love him on this pod, don't we? And it's probably a little bit preemptive, but I'll have him before anyone else now at home to Burnley, which I'm quite happy about. And hopefully, if he can survive with his Weetabix hamstrings, I'll have him as captain home to West Brom, which I quite like as well. So, yeah, used more swaps than I wanted to. Didn't want to plan this amount, but I think with the amount of chaos going on, hopefully it will work out in the end. The only thing is it could easily backfire because Vardy could end up doing better than Kane.
I guess you having Zuma, you're going to want to keep Zuma now in case Antonio's hamstrings pop. So
yeah. So my plan now, unfortunately, is because I now have no cover for that Villa game, and I don't actually have. I think I have 0.1 in the bank. Let me check. Yeah, I have 0.1 in the bank. So the only really move I can't do Meslier to Martinez, for example, because I'm 0.1 off of it. I can't get Jack Grealish in because he's 8.5 unless I was to take out one of the heavy hitters, De Bruyne, Fernandes, Kane, Salah. So that looks like it's off the table for me. I could do Diaz to Grealish. That doesn't sound like a good move to me because Man City have got fantastic games. So it may be that I just completely ignore that game, which is a scary thought because I feel like Jack Grealish at home to Newcastle's already got man of the match right now. He's going to be on the ball so often.
Well, he is the only good player on the pitch, arguably.
Yeah. Well, El Ghazi would tempt me a little bit as well, but apart from that, so I've come up with a plan that I'm going to wait until the day because first of all, Grealish might get banned, as I said before, and that would solve all my issues. If he doesn't get banned and he's there and I look at the lineup and it looks strong and Newcastle's looks dreadful, which I imagine will be the case, then I can remove Rob Holding and I can go to Cash or Konsa. And I don't actually hate that because Arsenal's fixtures after the 2 that we needed them for Captain Day are pretty bad, I think. Holding's not... he may be nailed, but we're not 100% sure he's nailed. And also, I actually really, really like Villa's fixtures from now till the end in terms of keeping clean sheets. First of all, they've been really solid. I don't think anyone can argue that. when you look at their opponents in more detail, which I was doing before, and also bear in mind, a lot of people have Martinez, a lot of people have a Villa defender, a lot of people have Grealish. So I'll be losing out to these guys because I don't have any Villa. So home to Newcastle, to me, that I mean, they can't score for love nor money. Away to Man City, yeah, tough game on paper, but Man City, as we've seen against Brighton and everything, they're scoring like 1 goal a game most of the time.
Yeah.
So very outside chance of a clean sheet there, but at least not getting spanked. That's the main thing, not a minus 3 points for conceding 5 goals, perhaps. Away to Burnley, I mean, they can't score, can they? Doesn't seem to be that they can score at all. Away to Southampton, yeah, you'd say that's a tough game, but then you've got Danny Ings, who's COVID at the moment.
Yeah, he's not playing this weekend.
Yeah, and then Ralph is constantly in the media at the moment saying how we're struggling to score goals, which has been, the case for them of late. So again, outside chance of a clean sheet there. Home to West Ham, again, a team that haven't been able to score much of late, just sold their centre forward. Antonio's got cheese string hamstrings, like we just said, so we don't know.
Yeah.
And then home to Arsenal, which again on paper, I mean, Arsenal struggled to score, as you saw last night, a lot. So I think out of all those games, they're not the highest in the ticker in Fantasy Football Scout for me, but I feel like there are quite a few potential clean sheets there, or at least low-scoring games. So
it's looking good for defenders, definitely, at the moment. Yeah, tightening up. Yeah. Everyone's getting tired as well. I mean, KDB was so... Yeah. De Bruyne was so tired he couldn't even kick from the penalty spot.
Yeah, worry that, isn't it?
Also, Arteta was coming out about how tired his players looked. Tierney was dropped as a precaution, not injured. It's just in case he does.
That was annoying for people who owned him. I feel for
very
that
annoying.
one.
Yeah. So I think you're right. I think this is. I mean, 5 at the back is quite inflexible, but certainly it's starting to look more 4-3-3. Definitely, as your formation shows, and there is a lot of good value in getting those Man City defenders doubling up there.
Yeah, 100%.
And
I mean,
of course,
if you were to offer anyone an overhaul right now, I think they would pretty much have 3 or 4 Villa, 3 or 4 Man City defenders in their team, including Edison in that.
Yeah.
And maybe a Villa one, and that would probably be that done and dusted, and just wait until the came to the overhaul.
Yeah.
Just racking up the points.
I think so. Okay, so I'll put my team up because, as is my way, I've listened to you and got the points as a result. So I the previous day, I got Cancelo back in. Finally, I got him back in. I saw he was starting, so got him in with Diaz. So got a nice double clean sheet there and extra points. And then yesterday, I finally got rid of Podence. I got Holding in. Now Zuma's gone for me. Because looking at the fixtures, I don't need Zuma. So the Chelsea game that was to be this Friday has gone into Saturday, and Grealish is now covered for those days. For I think there was a day with Chelsea. Leicester against Chelsea and West Ham against West Brom on the Tuesday, the 19th. I have Vardy in place already. So I haven't gone back to Kane from Vardy, but that is, a possibility still. So looking at my team, I've got Patricio in goal, and I'll come to that in a minute. Holding, Cancelo, Dallas, Diaz, De Bruyne, Grealish, Fernandes, Vardy, Salah, Bamford. Looking at the captaincy days, I'm okay. I'm covered. I don't think I was able in Sky to captain Grealish for last day because their fixture ticker I don't think is updated yet. So that's why it may look on there like I've ignored Grealish. They haven't updated that he's got Newcastle. Towards the end of
unlike them, of course.
Yeah, obviously.
They'll always bang on it
towards the end of the week. So just take it for red that Grealish will be my captain that day. So, as you mentioned, Grealish is on 4 yellow cards. He's mostly getting them for dissent. So that is when, I would presume, when he's unhappy in tricky games. He's got Man City next. That, to me, says Jack's going to have an argument and get booked. And
I'm literally praying for this to happen, which tells me it's not going to happen. Because it's always when you want something so strongly like this that actually goes in your favour. It never does it?
The Aston Villa management must be just almost constantly on at him. Don't argue, Jack, don't argue. And then it's one of those things, they'll say, right, got it, boss, won't argue. And they'll get on the pitch and then starts arguing, get a card.
I suppose actually on the flip side of that, if you were going to miss any game in the calendar right now, you'd say get booked against City and miss Newcastle. We don't need you. We could literally bring Pinocchio in or someone and stick him in midfield. You'll win that one.
So I've got 1.1 million in the bank, but it's not necessary for the move I'm considering. You mentioned about Villa's fixtures. I think Patricio is just... Why have I got Patricio? I might get questions and I cannot give you an answer. I just haven't done it yet. And Patricio...
I think him to Martinez, will get you points, yeah.
Patricio to Martinez. The overhaul is after game week 22, so this is 3 game weeks worth of points there. Patricio's getting me nothing. I don't need Wolves cover.
It's 6 games. It's 6 games that you're going to get from Villa. 6 games, like I said, of Villa there. Yeah. That's worth it for me. There's also the fact surely they're rested now, aren't they? I mean, I know they've had COVID, so maybe that's not quite the right word. Yeah, but it might be detrimental. But it's been a long time since we've seen them play, and as you said, a lot of teams are quite tired at the moment. Yeah. So maybe in a strange way, it's actually done them a bit of a favour just to work in the gym and stuff. So
that's what I'm looking at there. So that gives me the security of knowing. So I can say, Jack Grealish, you argue away because I've got Martinez. It also gives me perhaps a better option than Jack Grealish. Martinez against Newcastle. I mean, there's got to be a clean sheet, but I'm not sure it's going to get any...
There is that. There is that, isn't there? Because Jack often is the best player on the pitch, but he doesn't always end up getting the goals or the assists at the end. And you would have thought Martinez is pretty much a...
My only worry is the lack of shots from Newcastle, so possibly not the extra points there for saves. So that's my plan move, and as it stands, I'm not planning on anything else. I think I've got most things covered. I guess Dallas or Bamford could go because I don't need 2 leads as such. If it looks like if there's another rearrangement or there's another where I feel I'm missing the best captaincy on a day, there's those options there. But I'm not going to do any other tinkering. I don't think.
So the Bamford thing's really annoying because we lost that extra game. It was a good game, but at the end of the day, I just think he's too good a value and the fixtures are still good. So you just have to take it on the chin.
He's playing Brighton. He's going to get shots here definitely, and I would presume a goal. All he has to do is be near the goal against Brighton, and he should score.
And then they play Newcastle.
Yeah. So I think that in my position, and other people might be in that same position there, but I'm glad I've got the 2 double City defenders there, and Vardy that's just really my rubbishness as a Sky manager because I guess I might have looked at that and gone back to Kane, like you were saying, like you did, and I think a lot of people did that, and I think that was almost wise. But we're talking after the event. I mean, I was worried about Kane.
I'm not so sure. I mean, the swap I made has got me 7 points from Kane so far. Now, bear in mind, I made that swap originally, so I took Kane out for Vardy, and that was in order to captain Vardy for a blank when Kevin De Bruyne went mental, who was going to be my captain. So now I'm 2 swaps down and points down as a result of that move so far, even though Kane scored. So it's on paper it's bad. So I just need to get away with Vardy not scoring really in these next few games, especially home to Southampton. I mean, the Leeds game to me is he's going to get points in that.
Yeah, so I've
do about that.
I mean, through my sort of inability to make moves sometime, hence Patricio still being there, that hasn't worked out for me. But my just leaving Vardy has just helped me in the way that the fixtures have fallen.
I've been too rash with it there, but the thing with Vardy as well for me is whenever I own him, he does nothing, and when I don't own him, he's one of these players for me all the time. So I'm fully prepared that he's going to do very well versus Southampton now. But there was also this talk of he was slightly injured, wasn't he, when he had the games very close together earlier in the season, or only about a month ago now.
Yeah.
He was obviously on the bench when there was a game within 48 hours. He did end up coming on in that. The games are very close here. He's obviously nursing some sort of groin thing. I don't want to scare people, but there is a chance at least that he may miss out for one or get an injury.
Rodgers has come out saying that the break that they've had, the rest, has really helped Vardy and Maddison, and so he says they're raring to go. I think the fixtures are Southampton and then Chelsea this game week for Vardy. I think if it was the other way round, Rodgers might think, I'm going to rest him against Southampton. But he's fully rested, ready to go for Southampton. And I cannot see him being rested against Chelsea. I can't see Jamie Vardy, even if Rodgers says he's rested, Vardy's still going to turn up.
No, I wouldn't have thought he will get rested. I was just putting it out there that there's maybe an outside. I mean, to me, it'll be more to do with the fact if he tweaks his groin, that'll be the thing.
Let's get those fixtures up then, because we can talk about the captaincy days. So there's lots of them. I'll just give a sneak preview. There's another page as well. So there's so many fixtures, so many match days that they've gone over to 2 separate pages. So let's start with that Saturday. There's no Friday fixture, no Chelsea Fulham. That's been moved to Saturday. So we've got Wolves against West Brom. That's going to be the last hurrah for Patricio. I'd love it if he got me a clean sheet in that. Leeds against Brighton. Bamford, obviously a good option. West Ham, Burnley, Fulham, Chelsea, and Leicester, Southampton. So for me, Jamie Vardy against Southampton. But I guess for you, Bamford might be a good option.
Yeah, mine's going to be on Bamford. That was also again part of my reasoning because I've weighed up this Vardy move out. He would have probably been my captain this day, but at the end of the day, I thought Bamford. I mean, he could easily just be the better option on this day. So Southampton are so solid at the back, aren't they? Of late, Leicester have looked good though, so it's a very hard one to call. But I think there's a number of options there. I mean, obviously you've got Antonio, I have. You've got Zuma. It's not the worst idea. Any Chelsea asset, to be honest, and then Wolves at home. If you've got Neto, I feel like if Neto's playing up front, I mean, of any of the games, this is probably your most likely chance where we actually get a double-digit haul or something. So, be quite a lot of variety on this day, I would have thought, because not a lot of people even have Vardy.
This is also a wonderful hopping-off point for Wolves. So for me, with Patricio, if you do have Neto, this is a good time. Say goodbye to them with that West Brom game. It's a great fixture, and then we've got loads of other teams to choose from the Sunday, so which we move on to. So on the Sunday we've got Villa against Everton, so that's going to be Martinez in for me. Sheffield United against Tottenham, Liverpool against Manchester United, and Man City against Palace. I mean, I'm not going to be Flair.
Did you just say Villa playing, or did I just make that up? They're not playing there anymore.
Sorry. Yeah, sorry. I'm obviously looking at the old Sky fixtures.
It's always moving, Joe. You've got to be,
Please ignore
fluid.
me. Do you know what I'm going to do? I might even better do it on the screen here. So let's give it a go.
We don't play fantasy football like this anymore. What we do is we plan, and then we get absolutely shafted 2 hours later. That's the way we roll.
Some live editing. Look at this, everyone, and it's gone. There we go. I've just removed it. There we go. So I'll start again. I've got Sheffield United against Tottenham, Liverpool against Manchester United, Man City against Palace. So for me, I'm not going to mix it up. KDB is in. And captain, there he is. Same for you, I presume.
I'm not 100%. Simply because it's the 7:15 kickoff now. And there is a game, obviously at 2, where we see the lineups, which is... If Harry Kane is there against Sheffield United...
yes, you've got Kane, of course.
Yeah.
This is where you having Kane's going to be really good, I think.
Well, it's one of those ones where it could easily backfire, because originally my plan was De Bruyne, and it may still be De Bruyne. It's just it's very comforting to know that you can look at that lineup and see that Harry Kane's there, whereas De Bruyne said he was tired. I mean, he's going for the point. I can't see him being rested, but
no.
I can't see it. No. But there is the outside chance, isn't there? So therefore, I might stick it on Kane.
Yeah, I think Kane. Yeah, I think Kane's a really good option that day. Sheffield United, they won against Newcastle. Okay, we have to put that into perspective. They're still basically Derby. That's the way they're going. Let's move on.
They need points, don't they? I know they have to play the way that they normally do, but Sheffield United, as Mark was saying the other day, they need the points. They are going down. Can they afford to try and 0-0 this game or get a draw out of it? Surely they need to go for a win in every game, or they are going down.
Yeah. Well, they have to. They have to do it, and maybe there is a resurgence there. But, I mean, we saw last season, even with they had Henderson, but they had it in them to be amazing. In fact, considering.
Yeah, I mean, surely he'll think to himself that Spurs, that is a game that they could actually get some points out, given the way Spurs have. I mean, they dropped points to Fulham the other day, didn't they? So there was a chance.
Okay, so we moving on to the Wednesday. We've got Leeds against Southampton, Fulham against Manchester United, Man City against Villa.
You've flown again somewhere else. I don't know where you've gone there. Monday the 18th of January is the next one. Arsenal versus Newcastle.
Sorry, yeah. Let's move back again. So I'm moving ahead. I'll tell you what this is. This is Sky's fixtures. I wish they'd update them properly. Apologies for that.
Never use the Sky website.
It's the Monday the 18th of January, Arsenal against Newcastle. Well, Rob Holding.
Yeah.
There he is. He's in place for most people. I think he was the most most owned player that day against Palace as well. Moving on to the Tuesday, we've got West Ham against West Brom. That's Antonio time potentially. Leicester against Chelsea. So for me, I'm going to go for Vardy. I mean, for you, Antonio?
That'll be Antonio,
Okay.
assuming that lineup's come out at 5 o'clock and he's starting.
Yeah.
Please don't get injured again.
Rightio. Just bear with me a minute. Going well. Someone's printing. Hang on. Okay. The wonders of home working for school. Stopped. Okay. Just mark that down. Right, we can start again. Okay.
You could go all the way back to before the fixtures ballsed up for the Arsenal Newcastle, maybe. Oh, I don't know.
No, that's fine. I'll just start.
Okay.
I'll start from here because we've already done.
So we've done Tuesday. Yeah. Antonio will score was the bit you need to get when we pray, and then that's it.
Let's move on to Wednesday. So we've got Wednesday the 20th of January, Leeds against Southampton, Fulham against Manchester United, and Man City against Villa.
No, we don't.
What now? What's the other fixture I've missed out?
You just said Leeds, they don't even play.
Oh, right, okay.
You need to sort your fixture.
Oh, Jesus. I'll tell you what, I'm just going to put the FPL ones up, ignore Sky.
Yeah.
Right.
You should leave all this in for comical value, Joe.
I think I might do. This is what content creators have to deal with timetabling and fixture scheduling. On to the Wednesday, Fulham against Manchester United and Man City against Aston Villa. So it's actually a tough choice this day.
Yeah.
De Bruyne or Fernandes? I don't know. We'll get to see the team sheets though.
Yeah.
I presume. I don't know. I actually don't know, and I'll decide on the day.
I'm the same. Yeah, I'm not sure yet.
I will listen out for comments like, "Oh, Bruno's a bit tired," or "Kevin's a bit tired," that kind of thing. Just little hints here and there, because even if you see them on the team sheet, they might get say 60 minutes, and then the damage might be done in these games in the last 30 minutes. I don't know. I mean,
it's a coin toss. Villa and Fulham are both decent sides now, aren't they? Yeah. That's the problem. So you can't really call that easily. For me, it might end up being one of those ones where you just go Diaz.
Yeah. Do you know what? That's a good idea. Or Cancelo.
Yeah.
I'm hopeful that Cancelo's going to play. So moving on to the Thursday, the 21st of January. So hopefully the Sky Fixtures got this one right. Liverpool against Burnley. So, well, I've got Salah. I've got Salah and I'm going to captain Salah. Well, I guess whichever Liverpool player you got, just captain them.
Yeah. Yeah.
And then moving on, Saturday the 23rd of January is going to be, we presume is going to be shoehorned in to this game week. Because the other fixtures are much later. It's Villa against Newcastle. It's what we were talking about earlier. So with that fixture there, for me, Grealish, Martinez a backup, and with you, you're going to hope Grealish isn't playing, and then you just not bother with it.
I'm going to play it by ear. Yeah, I might get a defender. Might get a defender.
Concert or Cash.
Yeah. It will actually be, I can only imagine, by the way, on that note, it will be its own separate game week created, because the game weeks run always from the same time to the same time, don't they? Friday to Friday. So it could be that it's its own individual game week on its own.
Right, we just to alert listeners and viewers, we are not going to do a separate podcast for the Villa Newcastle game. Because I haven't got that level of we'd be asleep. Just be two blokes asleep. Yeah.
It would basically just be get Jack Grealish.
Get Jack Grealish. The rest of them are rubbish. But there's some other good Villa assets there. We've had some questions from the community, so let's go through them. I think we've addressed this one from Savage. Is it time to consider Pogba? I think we decided not yet, but one to look at perhaps for the overhaul. Jamo wonders about Antonio. Will he play both games, or is he an ongoing injury? Is his ongoing injury issue a concern? I'll
just get my crystal ball out.
Well, we don't know. You've taken the risk and gone for it, and that could pay off. You remember we were here this time last year, and that was when we used to focus on our B teams a little more. And I got Antonio and captain him on my B team when he was owned by 4 people. and it was a glorious day that I will never forget, and will never be repeated for me in Sky. But yeah, hopefully.
I think it's worth the go, isn't
Yeah.
it? I mean, all the noise right now, and they sold Haller. I know that doesn't play into Antonio's fitness, but to me, at least makes me think that there's a slight bit of confidence there that he's back in some form or vein. So there is that, I suppose. And yeah, I mean, they've taken their time this time, unlike the last one when they just threw him into the starting lineup from nowhere. You can do all the planning and all that you want, and he could end up getting a separate injury. He could go on the pitch and get concussion or something, or get COVID in the next couple of days. You just can't. You can't be terrified of these things. You can't ignore players on the basis that that they've historically been occasionally got injured. I don't think, because the opportunity is too good there for me. So that's why I've gone for it.
I mean, the same question applies to Vardy that we've talked about, really. But I've got that quote actually from Rodgers about Vardy and Maddison. He says they weren't rested in the cup. It would have been a huge risk for them to play. They've had issues going on through the season, and that week gave us a window for them to get treatment. So they're indicating that that was the time that they feel sorted now. We hope. Dragos asks, Grealish is one booking away from sitting a game out. How many games does he actually have before this goes away? So yeah, but I think it's this game week. I think if he survives this, is that right?
See, well, someone told me. I don't know. The best thing to do is to Google this, because we're not experts on this. But I got told that it's when the actual club has played 19 games, so it's not actually a window of this is on this game week. But that could be wrong. I could be wrong on that. So yeah, I'd certainly stick it into Google and try and work it out. But for now, all we need to know is if he gets a yellow in any couple of weeks, he's going to miss the next one. So
there's that risk. Adam asks, and this applies to what you're considering. He says he needs Villa cover. Dallas to Conser looks an option, or wait for someone to be injured, suspended, and choose on the night. Grealish suspension is a worry. So yeah, he could possibly get Grealish in, but he is actually thinking along the lines you are. Someone like Conser could be quite handy, especially it's Newcastle.
I mean, Conser doesn't really get bonus points, but Newcastle are the team that give them out to virtually every team they play. So I suppose there's even an outside chance that he gets them. But someone like Cash, I mean, Conser's very much a goal threat from corners, isn't he? Someone like Cash, if you could afford it, might be the better pick, because he can get tackle bonus, he can whip in crosses, and he may be on the ball more because they're pushed forward so much. So I think between the two, if that was the choice, I'd go for Cash, maybe slightly over Conser. But
and it's a question from me and Parry, which I don't think we're going to answer, but I just want to put it on record so we can put that question out there, because other people might want to consider it as well. He's saying there have been 56 captaincy days already this season. Wow. And by most reckonings, there will be a lot more to come in the second half. With this in mind, and with the leader of Sky Fantasy Football already on 1,745 points, what total do you predict will be required to win the whole thing in May? I don't know. It's blown my mind. But what's interesting about this question is it puts into our minds about the number of captaincy days there have been, and the number of captaincy days they are going to be. We've already had a lot of postponements. So there's going to be more matches to go in. There's going to be, in FPL terms, lots of double game weeks. In Sky terms, it could mean lots of single or maybe a couple of matches in one day.
Yeah, it's going to be the highest scoring season by quite a distance, I would have thought. Maths is not my strong suit, no. So I don't even want to begin to answer that. All I know is it's going to be a lot of points, and that's for obvious reasons. So you're saying the more captain opportunities you have, the more double points you have. It's very very basic, isn't it? So also, when you consider a lot of the teams actually have a fantasy option, there's not very many teams. I mean, sometimes you have seasons where there is literally 15 to 20 players you can pick from, and a lot of the teams don't have any fantasy options. Whereas this season, especially in Sky, because of the prices, virtually every team. I mean, you could even have Lookman from Fulham, for example, or Cavallero, or people like that. That Areola. There are people from some of the worst teams that are options, I feel.
Yeah.
It's only, I mean, even Newcastle, I know we're slagging them off, but you could have Wilson and he can do okay. That's happened before. You could have the keeper Darlow if he stays fit, and he's been one of the better picks in Sky. So there's so many options.
Certainly, if you've already got Wilson or Darlow in your team, keep them, especially if you've got no Villa.
You know, Pope from Burnley. I mean, even these classic days where before we'd ignore the
Yeah.
Burnley versus at home to Palace, you've got Pope and you've got Zaha. These days are actually
Yeah.
good options now. I know Eze's there.
I,
So
I,
yeah, a lot.
I need to look at the fixtures more, but I remember last overhaul, last season, I got Pope in and never looked back. Or rather, I think I got him in just after that for Henderson, and I had him for the duration. And Pope is marvelous, marvelous in Sky for those exact days where no one knows what to do. Everyone's using transfers. If you've got Pope sitting there, captain him. Hey presto, 10 points, 20 points for the captain. See, so yeah, someone I'm looking at definitely. Okay, well, hopefully we've answered all your questions. We've also managed to navigate Sky's wonderful fixture schedule. But we have by hook or by crook got there. But we'll be back again ahead of game week 20, which is starting Tuesday the 26th of January. So we'll pick a date for then, and we'll let everyone know on Twitter that that's coming. But in the meantime, Luke, thanks so much for joining me, and good luck with your game week in Sky.
Same to you, mate. See you on the next one.